Play.
Let's try this again.
And we are live.
Sorry, Zach. I'm so sorry about that. That was and everyone listening as well. My laptop's decided to be silly when I was trying to log on and all that. unfortunate jazz and whatnot. How are you doing, Zach? How are you doing?
James, it's a pleasure to be here with you today. And you know what? We have missed all of zero action for the tennis on this match. Now, we are following the heel fantastic one. And just for everybody's awareness, it is Zach from North Kakalaki. Shout out to Brazy. I am very, very, very excited about this match. I will not be able to stay the full time. So James is going to be rolling solo here after a little bit because I've got a match of my own later today. A little frosty doubles, as they call it here.
What's a frosty? Go and tell me. What is a frosty doubles?
Basically, they do during the cold times of year. They do the first one is called Frosty Dubs, and the second one is called Frozen Assets.
Okay.
Yeah, it's it's like men's recreational tennis. It's normal stuff, mostly doubles, but we can talk about that another time. Today, want to talk about how routine Jannik Sinner is about to make a top 10 win. What are we thinking? Prediction time? We get it right today?
Yeah, I mean, I think I don't know. It feels disingenuous, and I'm guessing we'll have Aussies in the chat as well. Who'll be like, no, Minaur has a chance. You never know. Sinner looked okay, but not great in the match previously. But in all said and done, we kind of expect this to be a straight sets victory. And if Alex Minaur can get one of the sets to a tiebreaker, he's done very well. That kind of feels like where we're at the moment, especially given the pretty epic first, to reflect, of course, on the first match that we've just seen, or certainly that's taken place. I mean, another 2.5 hour epic. There was a point in which Kokkinakis, of course, put up the first set 7-6. Basically, they shouldn't have won that tiebreaker. Berrettini with one of the worst decisions possible to leave that backhand by Kokkinakis, which dropped
the Berrettini special, by the way. A bad decision on a tennis court.
and you just feel like, go on.
This is not meant to knock Alex de Minaur. He's a fantastic player. He is a guy who can, make it to the second week in majors. He can certainly get wins in 250 and 500 tournaments, maybe the occasional 1,000. But Sinner is just on a different level right now. The only person watching who thinks that Alex de Minaur is going to win, I mean, probably his mom, maybe his coaches. So let's be honest with the chat. That being said, again, this is not a knock on him. He's a spectacular player. Sinner has just been that good this year.
Yeah, he has been, certainly on a hard court, he has been the guy of the year, and it's just, there are so many superlatives. I mean, we just saw, of course, in the last week, him straight setting it. So literally not even giving up a set, not even getting to a tiebreaker,
right?
Against any of his opponents at the ATP Tour Finals, which are meant to be the 8 best players in the world. And he was like, do you know what? I fancy just basically knocking you all off the park. And this event that's meant to be the 5th biggest tournament on the calendar, I'm just gonna get it done pretty easy. No stress.
Oh, yeah.
No worry.
Casual. They just showed the head-to-head on my screen. Sinner has won all 7 of their previous matches on hard courts and all 8 of their previous matches in general. And James, the chat, they're giving you a little love. They say you're looking trim, you're looking lean, like you've been hitting the free weights. You want to drop some knowledge on us? I'm trying to tighten up before the winter holidays here.
No, I've just got I just had a haircut. That was all yesterday, so hence the reason why it looks a damn sight shorter than what
the slimming haircut. Okay,
I'm used to. So hence the reason why it's probably probably look at this a little bit bizarre. Not as long as the haircuts as the people that are placed, if I could point in the right direction, who are just to the side there in terms of Jannik Sinner and Alex de Minaur with slightly longer haircuts in these photos. But yeah, it feels good. It feels weird because I used to have hair at the back of me. So whenever I shake it almost a bit like a dog, I'm used to feeling the hair move. I do it now and I feel like I get a headache because there's nothing there.
I'm looking at this photo that we got up of these guys, and What type of what would you call that mustache that de Minaur is rocking there?
Oh, it's not quite a goatee.
It's pretty narrow on the upper lip there. It's a little.
It is.
It's a bit narrow. The goatee, I think, saves him there. But if that was just a mustache, be mighty close to trouble.
Yeah, it would be, wouldn't it? It's it's not too bad actually. I mean, Sinner's got the haircut that he obviously picked out from a photo he took in Sofia for three or so years ago. But he's somebody that has not actually changed how he looks since he was 18.
Yep. I feel like when Sinner is 65 years old, he's going to look basically the same, just with gray hair. Yeah.
They'll still have it, Kurt. I mean, did you just go grey or they both light grey, weren't they?
Yep. So I'm curious. Let's go with me on this. Let's imagine that de Minaur is able to bring his absolute A++++ game. He's going to shock us. This is going to be a tight match. What does he need to do to make it competitive and maybe steal one and get his first win against the world number 1 Jannik Sinner?
He needs to have a high first serve percentage. He needs to make sure that he's not giving away any cheap points on his service game. Because if Sinner gets an early break in any of the sets, you're pretty much saying good night Vienna almost to that set. It's going to be Sinner's going to walk away from there. But we did see when we looked at when it came to the ATP Tour finals and also in the match in the quarterfinals that there does tend to be at least one service game in any one set that Sinner has, and which is not exactly a cakewalk for the Italian. And it's all about in those moments as the players are just about to get ready, I think, now to go for the first point. It's all about in those moments for Alex to really have to capitalize. It's as simple as that. Is that he may only get one chance in each set, and he's got to ensure that he actually he's got to ensure that he takes those chances, because if he doesn't take those chances, there could be problems.
And now my favorite part of the stream, my match is underway because my Wi-Fi is a little faster because, respectfully, James, American Wi-Fi just a little faster than British. Just a little bit. They're closer to you. How am I seeing this faster? American ingenuity, baby.
American ingenuity. Let me see if I can get... I mean, I'm trying my damnedest here to actually get... Oh, no, it's made it bigger. I don't need that.
In the first point, de Minaur with a beautiful forehand winner. And maybe that is the start of something that is going to truly shock the world. Look, they're not playing for money. They're not playing for anything other than glory in their countries. And you know what? Every now and then something wacky happens.
I mean, also the big thing to point out with this match is it's the last top 10 match of the season. There's going to be a competitive, proper match.
That makes me sad, but you know what? What a season it's been! What a season it has been. Was there a match in particular that really jumped out to you? Was there a favorite of the year?
What, between these players or just generally?
In general, yeah, and also like not only James in the chat, let us know. This, again, last top 10 match of the year. What was your favorite top 10 players match this season? Ghost of Gerolaitis cracks me up. By the way, that guy's like the funniest commentator.
Jesus. Well done, Ghost. Okay. So, please star the name just to hope that actually gets onto the comment section.
Yes, that's the stipulation. It's got to be a match between two top 10 players. Now we can fudge it a little bit. Top 10 at any point this season. Doesn't have to be top 10 when they played.
No. We have to do top 10 when they play.
Both top 10 when they played.
There has to be the stipulation. Otherwise, you could give all sorts of players names of people that have dropped in and dropped out.
And while you're thinking on that, it's 40-15 Sinner. It turns out it perhaps was not the start of something, that first forehand winner, although it was a very nice shot from the Australian.
I mean, it's annoying because I would like to say something like the Alcaraz-Sinner match from Beijing, but I wasn't actually able to watch it because for some reason, let's decide to have finals of 500 events take place on a Wednesday.
Nothing says finals like a Wednesday to me, James.
Yeah, I mean, they're bugging it up when it came to the Billie Jean King Cup as well, having that final on a Wednesday. It's just like, the whole idea, or one thing we're used to with tennis is that your finals are always on a Sunday. or at least sometimes on the Saturday if
That's
you
what it's
got
supposed to be.
well, if you got cultural reasons, or if you got a Grand Slam taking place the week after. That's always their steadfast rule. Finals always on a Sunday, and this is now turning into a rant. Finals should always remain at the weekend when people are going to be able to watch it, when normies are going to be able to watch it, not on, especially when it's in China. So in which case, the final on a Wednesday is not even going to be in the evening, in which I could just about cope with. It's going to be on at 10 o'clock in the morning when everyone's at work. Like, who thinks of this?
I think, gosh, it's been a weird year. The Zverev Alcaraz match was this year, correct?
Zverev Alcaraz,
like the look back.
Oh yes,
that
with the trophy glistening in the background as Zverev looks despondent, and it looks clear that Alcaraz is about to win it. That was poetry in motion.
It was truly poetry in motion, and it was like, I always use this metaphor. Yeah.
I don't think you can count the Zverev match because I know he's a great player, but he's a bit of a boring player in terms of his game style.
So I will agree with you that in a vacuum, yes, he has a clear game plan that he uses every match over and over and over again. It's very effective, but I would argue that it brings out the best in Alcaraz because it shows the contrast between a player who's got all the shots, all the strokes, versus somebody who is not just a tennis player, but is truly an artist like Alcaraz. It's the creativity and the courage and the bravery to hit the shots that he hits that makes him him. And that's what keeps Alexander Zverev as the best player to never win a major.
Yeah, he is. I mean, I'm just thinking along that lines. I will say from a drama perspective, and I don't know if one of the two players was in the top 10 at the time, but I have to say that Zverev Hurkacz match from the United Cup at the beginning of the year, that was solid bits of drama. Two huge servers just going at it, and any odd mistake was going to be like lethal for the entire contest. But I don't know if they were top 10 players at the time. That's the only issue. I mean, also from a drama perspective, thinking back as well, the Australian Open final from Sinner coming back from 2-0 down to be able to win that match, and by doing it by breaking at the back end of every single set afterwards, that was brilliant drama.
Sinner is looking so good, by the way. It's 15-30, first service game for de Minaur, and Sinner is just doing Sinner things. He just is the best ball striker. I am a bit of an Alcaraz homer, but no one can hit as clean of a rally ball as Sinner. And he makes it look so easy. It looks so easy. I'm going to get out there in about an hour, and I'm going to give that a try, and I'm going to hit the fence. But not him.
No, he's just like, getting down low. I mean, on the point we had there, just the backhand up the line. I mean, it's almost as if it's like a baseball player hitting it perfectly for a home run. Just
I wonder if you saw the video that I saw today of Patrick Mouratoglou. He was watching an American baseball pitcher throw the ball, and it was a sidearm guy, and he was really complimentary about how fluid he was and the whip motion that he's able to get. And I'm just watching Sinner play, having watched that video earlier. I'm just struck by how fluid he is, how loose he's able to swing. I mean, it is the ultimate kinetic chain. And any young player watching, that's the person whose strokes you should be copying, in my opinion.
Absolutely completely on that one. It's just so solid, so reliable, and so deep as well on the returns. It's the consistency of the depth of shot. Is the big winner for his entire game. Is that it's going to land at worst case scenario maybe a meter before the baseline. Most of the time it's going to land within that meter, and it's going to be just perfectly placed by the Italian. And it's very hard for an opponent to be able to really attack a ball that Sinner's in the rally of.
And Sinner with the first, probably not the only break of the match there. And that point is just a perfect example of why he doesn't ever lose matches that he's not supposed to lose. Alcaraz's ceiling, I would argue, is just as high, if not a bit higher than Sinner's. But Sinner's floor at this point is at a totally different level. And that point shows exactly why. It's a reasonable target.
Conductor there from side to side to side to side. Just excellent. Okay, so just going back to the question you said. So, what was your? As I'm still trying to think, what was your favourite match between two top 10 players this year on the? Let's start with the men's tour, and you can think about a women. Well, I say think about a women's one, but I think we could all probably agree it was definitely the Sabalenka versus Swiatek match in Madrid. That one was.
Oh, what a cracker! To use a British term, yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, I am partial when you consider the weight of this match, when you consider the stakes for one player in particular, and when you consider the effect it had on the other player, I've got to go the Olympic gold medal match between Djokovic and Alcaraz. Look, I mean, Djokovic, that was it his last chance at a gold? Technically, no, but yeah, it really was. That's the only thing that has eluded him professionally in tennis. The only thing. And was the money on the line? No. Was it the best match in terms of pure aesthetics? Probably no. But man, that was a special moment. And as somebody who doesn't necessarily always agree with Djokovic's politics, but really, really appreciates him as a tennis player and really wanted to see him achieve that, it was special. It was special. And I got to tell you, I think it showed how much Alcaraz cares when he's playing, not just for money and points, but for country too, because he was devastated. He really, really thought that he was going to get it done. And he'd been playing at a level that was going to be good enough. And Djokovic, the old dog, found a way to reach back for the fastball and find it one more time. I just thought that was a truly special tennis moment. Borderline as good as Goran Ivanisevic's 2001 to win Wimbledon in his fourth try in a final.
Yeah, he did beat Hemmen along the way, so I'm still a little bit bitter about that.
How old were you when that happened?
Probably like 5.
Yeah, I'm sure you were crying.
It was probably the best chance Tim Hemmen ever had of winning Wimbledon.
Yeah,
and if it weren't for a rain delay, he probably would have beaten Goran as well in that semi. Oh,
if you go back and you watch those matches in the clips, I don't know how Goran got a comical number of net cords too. It was breaking his way over and over and over and over again. He was like superstitious, so he'd be chasing down the ball to try and get the same ball back after he got these net cords. That was a truly ridiculous run. Poor Tim Hemmen though.
Good old headers.
Hey. He never gets mentioned in the best players never to win a major conversation. Why is that?
It's a good question. I think I don't know. Maybe because of a lot of it's probably a lot of it's like the British element to it, which is it's bizarre because actually, if you look at Tim Hemmen's career, he was, and I don't know how it's gotten to Tim Hemmen, but hey ho, he was number 4 in the world at his absolute peak. He won the Paris Masters, picked up over 10 titles on the tour. Got so many top 10 wins in his career. His career, objectively, we would look at and go, was actually been pretty excellent. But because of that weight and expectation around Wimbledon and the fact that it was always the question in all the British media, which was, is he going to win Wimbledon this year? Is it going to be this year? Is it going to be this year? Is it his time? It never was, and it was always semi-finals for Tim Hemmen, both 4 times at Wimbledon, once at the French, once at the US Open. It kind of then led to a bit of a narrative that he was a bit of a loser, that he couldn't do it, he couldn't get over the line, and and I think he's still voted. I think there's some polls that get put out, who's the biggest loser in British sport, and Tim Hemmen always comes out on top. Yet he had one of the best careers, of any player on tour.
Absolutely,
it's nuts.
Hey, so. While we've been talking Henman, something a little surprising is brewing here. Minaur with the break back of center. Now, did he get a little bit of help with that net cord? You betcha. But that's the kind of thing you need to break your way to beat the world number 1.
Like I said, it could just be that one chance, and that one chance there he took. That's key.
I think that Leighton Hewitt coaching coaching today is a real win. I think they have similar playing styles. If anybody can coax just a little bit more out of him in this setting, it's Leighton Hewitt, whose son, by the way, is an all-world junior player and is somebody to keep an eye on these next 3 or 4 years. I mean, he is a talented youngster.
He is. Cruz, isn't it? Is his name? He's 15 at the moment.
Yep.
There we go. There's my tennis knowledge popping up there. I know he was practicing with Nick Kyrgios the other day in Brisbane. So I think he may be. I think Cruz may end up may potentially be getting some qualifying wildcards at some of these events.
It's great to see that. I am certainly rooting for that youngster. I will tell you, the wild card system in tennis is one of the most unfair, nonsensical ways to promote young players, and it drives me absolutely nuts. It's not rooted in ability purely. It's rooted in, are you from one of like 6 countries? And it's something that I think really, you look at a Djokovic who got a little bit later of a start or a little bit later of a breakthrough than some of the other members of that top tier of tennis. And it's because he's not from the US, he's not from the UK, he's not from Spain, he's not from Australia. These countries with federations that have a little bit more pull, a little bit more juice. It's where you get into the politics of tennis a little bit more. And so again, happy for that youngster. You're exactly right. He will be getting those wild cards. I wish that tennis would work a little bit harder to make it a more equitable system.
Well, there is that. Well, they have started to do that because there's 2 systems of play they have now for promising juniors. Certainly on the men's tour, you've got the challengers. You've got the challenger situation where if you're a top 10 junior, I think for the first 3 years after you come out of juniors, you have 10. You basically have 10 free entries into main tour challenger events. Which certainly rewards you for having a good junior career and actually challenging yourself in those big tournaments. And if you're one of those under 21 juniors who was a top 10, if you were a top 10 junior, and before you reach the age of 21, you get to 250 in the world or higher, you then get access to 1 main draw tournament and 2 qualifying tournaments on the main tour during 250 weeks. So tennis has certainly started to introduce ways in which young promising juniors who do really well in the junior circuit, giving them the ability to have those opportunities. But I do agree with what you're saying is that unless you're from a Grand Slam nation or from a nation that has a lot of tournaments that take place in their main tour tournaments that take place in your country, it's very hard if you're a youngster to really be able to break through without having to really grind ridiculous amounts on both the futures and the challenger circuit to be able to get to qualifying.
But also, you look at you have to achieve a certain ranking in the juniors, right? If you're from a country without a federation that's giving you great support and you need to make money, you don't have the luxury of maintaining amateur status and continuing to stick with the juniors. You need to go play and win some cash, right? And so it's certainly a step in the right direction. You're right. I should absolutely give tennis a little bit more credit for taking that step, but they're not all the way there, and they got to keep pressing because look, as a fan, I want to see the best players. I don't care if they're from France. I don't care if they're from the US. I don't care if they're from Kazakhstan or Senegal or Mauritius. I just want to see the best players play, and they're getting closer, but there's more that they can do. Now, we got a very, very easy service game from Minaur. He's playing well, man. He's looking good out there. Maybe he's going to make a match of this.
He is. He's currently still got a game point, but Jannik's just one of the 2 game points. It's now 40-30 on my screen. So
I do want to point out something. So Ghost of Garolitis had a great comment. Draper's dad tried to recruit young Djokovic to become a Brit, which would have had all kinds of advantages. Kudos to Djokovic for choosing to continue to represent his country. He also said that I might not like Djokovic politics, but they are born out of legitimate grievances against Northern European and American hypocrisy. There's a difference between disagreeing with them and not liking them. I don't agree with a couple of specific things, and I'll spare you guys my high horse on that. I have no ill will towards Djokovic, and it's not that I dislike his politics. I just don't agree, and I think, you know what? It's okay to not agree on a few things. Talk about vaccines.
No, yeah, it's he's been a funny sort of good old Djokovic. At least it gave us one of the biggest stories probably of the decade when he got deported from Australia that one time. I mean,
that was something.
I still love the fact that I ended up finding Australian news channels on YouTube that they were doing live streams of their shows just to find out what was happening each morning.
All right, we gotta.
I would just, what is it? In the evening UK time, I'll just go, right, Channel 9 News. Never heard of Channel 9 before, but Channel 9 News.
Yeah.
And it's like breakfast time in Australia, and they're telling us exactly what's happened. Oh, okay. What's happened recently? Some protests, whatnot.
I don't know if I ever told you this. I actually, briefly, the continent of Australia had a little bit of beef with me by accident.
The whole continent?
Truly the whole continent. So through my day job, I got to know an Australian journalist a little bit, and we struck up a friendship on Twitter, and I tweeted something as a joke, which was that basically any collection of high-level American football players, if you gave them a year and some training, could beat any collection of high-level rugby players. It was said tongue-in-cheek. My friend knew this.
At rugby or at
Yes,
American football?
At rugby. And so this is said in jest. I do not believe that. I do think, like, if we're talking the top of the top NFL guys, like, come on, those guys are big fellas. But he retweeted me and then quote tweeted me, and some guy who I do not know his name, big time rugby guy in Australia, quote tweeted me and was like, "Look at this absolute muppet," and it just went mega viral in Australia, and then somehow it got picked up in India too. When I doubled down and I said the same thing is true with American baseball players and cricket. And so there was like one night where I got, 80,000 retweets and quote tweets of people just ripping on me. And it was a lot of fun. But I was laughing. I don't think that the continent of Australia thought it was particularly funny. They were pretty mad.
Or the continent, or the country of India as well. That you got to remember, cricket in India is like a religion.
I was definitely outnumbered in that moment. And I felt
there's a lot of people in India as well that it's a very, very populated country. But no, I mean, it depends really. I mean, there are sort of bat and ball sports in which are transferable. There's been a number of British former rugby players that have gone over to American football.
Yeah.
So it's all about because the sport is somewhat similar in terms of the shape of the ball, what you're going to do with it, how you're interacting with the other players. It's just all about taking that time to get used to the new tactics and strategies of it.
How about that backhand from center there? By the way, I mean, and not only can does he have such a great kinetic chain when he hits the ball, his flexibility and his movement, it doesn't get talked about enough. That was such a great stretch and reach. Really, really impressive point from center there.
It's doing well to hang on here. I mean, Minaur is really playing well at the moment.
Absolutely. So we got a question from the chat that so much of American athletic talent, it starts to get siloed in elementary and middle school. For those that aren't kind of familiar with the American education system, that's anywhere from the ages of 5, 6 to 13, 14. And it primarily gets put to football and basketball. How can we get some of that action in tennis? Look, the USTA needs to do a better job. Straight up. You look at public courts around the country, many of them are being taken over by old people playing pickleball. Many of them are in disrepair. They've got cracks, they've got bubbles, they're unsafe. And I also think that tennis, for a little bit, it really lost the cool factor. Andy Roddick had it for a little bit, but after that, it's kind of been a secondary or tertiary sport. I think Tiafoe's done a lot to make it cool. I think the fact that Tommy Paul is like ridiculously handsome, probably not going to hurt. Same deal for Coco. Serena, who I loved and very much enjoy as a tennis player and a person, was controversial. I think it was nonsense that was the case, but it is true. And so how do we get it there? We got to up the cool factor. We need a federation that's able to do a little bit more. And also we got to make doubles popular. And that's not just an American thing. I have mixed feelings when they play the singles players and doubles in the Davis Cup. I wish that the singles players did participate in doubles a bit more, because when you look at who's playing tennis, it's a lot more doubles than singles. It's a lot easier on the body. It's something you can do when you get old,
I mean, one of the things I will just say is that I'm guessing a lot of it is looking at the prism of, you've not, the United States has not had a male Grand Slam champion since Andy Roddick in 2003. And right. I can understand that as a viewpoint, but it is incredibly hard to try and create a Grand Slam winner. I mean, they are. Let's be honest. It really is not the easiest thing in the world. And actually, you can't really work as a tennis federation. I say for both the LTA and, like I say, for you for the USTA. It's really hard for those federations to try and go, right, we're going to get a Grand Slam winners, because it can be such a luck of the draw if you can find someone that's good enough and then getting them to that position, where actually what the whole role of a tennis federation to do really is to make sure that enough players have access to enough of the right equipment to do the best as possible they can in their careers, and hopefully get a ton of players into the top 100, top 250, that sort of thing. And then if those players turn out to be generational talents that can, get across the line at Grand Slams, fantastic. That's brilliant. But, and to be honest, the United States has still done a brilliant job over the last 20 years or so. It constantly has, 5, 6, 7 players in the top 100 in the world. And usually those players are certainly in the top 10, if not top 20, all the time as well. I mean, you are producing, okay, so they're not winning Grand Slams, or they're only getting to the finals in the men's game. Okay, that happens, but you're at least producing the talent and you're getting enough people into those tournaments, getting deep in those tournaments, that at some point it will work out for the Tennis Federation, and that's just when it comes to the UK, for example, as well, we only ever really are able to produce maybe one player in every generation almost that is able to get themselves into the top 10, into the top 20. But we've done so, but actually, one of the things that people say, okay, Andy Murray, yada yada, did he won 3 Grand Slams? Is the LTA really capitalizing and all that and whatnot? And okay, there's some questionable things in what the Tennis Federation has done, but if you look at the fact of when Andy Murray was at the top of his game, the British number 2 was ranked 250 in the world. At the moment, you got the British number 2. You got the British number 2 being ranked 49 in the world. That is a significant improvement. And we had a situation in the men's game where we had 4 players, at one stage 5 players inside the top 100. That was be unheard of 20 years ago, whereas now it's that is certainly a sign of improvement. But of course, there is still room to make sure that we can try and get a few more players getting deep, and that we can try and find at least another major contender for a Grand Slam, because it'd be good to at least have another finalist on the men's game. Of course, we're there on the women's game, but yeah, there we go. That's just my little thing that you haven't won a Grand Slam, fair enough, but you are getting a lot of players inside the top 10, top 20. That is a good sign, and something will come from that at some point.
Old Johnny McEnroe has talked about this a little bit, and one of the things that he has suggested is that the American system of player development, it oftentimes revolves around players leaving home and going to an academy sometime between the ages of 11 and 14. And McEnroe has advocated to let players stay at home where they live, where they've got a support system, and continue to develop there. Let's see if we see more of that in the States. And it's, look at the academies. It's not just a bunch of American players there. There are tons and tons of Eastern European players. You've got South American players that move there. And I think it would be interesting to see what would happen if more players developed him. Great example of somebody who succeeded doing that is Djokovic, right? I think in the chat, there's a little chatter. If he had moved to the UK, if he had been a British citizen, would he have had the same career? We'll never know for sure. Probably not, No.
It's I mean, one of the things that we should pick up, Andy Murray in his career, he moved to Spain for 2 years in his sort of mid-teens to be able to get that training in both the hot conditions, but also on the clay courts as well, and that ensured that he had an all-court game, which is fantastic. So I get what McEnroe's trying to say about letting them stay at home a little bit more, but actually there probably is a greater call for maybe Americans to actually come to Europe for a period of time to pick up clay court skills and whatnot, which they can then transfer to the hard courts and maybe give them that little edge that they need in those bigger matches against those bigger European players. Because as people have seen on the Juan Martín del Potro in 2009 was the last player outside of Europe on the men's side to actually win a Grand Slam, and that was over 15 years ago.
So I'll do a little cross-sport comparison. I think a great example of athletic development is one of my favorite athletes of all time, Lance Armstrong. He developed at home in Texas. And what did he do once he hit 19, 20 years old? He moved to Europe and he trained there on the bike, right? And I think that's if you're an 18, 19-year-old on the tour, spending your off seasons in Spain, getting used to the clay, spending your off seasons in Portugal, Italy, wherever it may be, I think that makes sense. But I do think there is value in having that stability of being at home, of being around your loved ones, of being around your friends from before you were a mega star for a little bit longer than the way they're doing it now. And I think, once a kid is 15, 16, maybe it's a little bit easier, but they're sending kids to these facilities when they're like 11 years old. That's too young. That's too young to move for a sport. That's too much pressure to put on a
Yeah,
kid. You know,
you can't be committing that early. But then the big thing there is just making sure there's enough academies, really, isn't there, around the country, so that little Jimmy can go to the local academy in their town, or just on the town just across, to be able to learn how to play tennis and not actually have to move. And as you say, in your case, half the country away, which is such a huge move in the United States, given how big it is.
Okay. By the way, Sinner back in control of this with a little break there. Although de Minaur is he's frisky. He's making it happen. He's holding his own. All right, James, where in the match are you? I want to make sure our streams are set up.
15 all at the moment. 15 all.
Okay. Sinner is walking to the service line for me. He's holding 2 balls. Now he's holding 3. He's looking at them. He's giving one back because you don't need 3 balls to serve in tennis as of right now. Who knows?
What is it? Is it 30? Is it 30? Is it 30-15 on your screen?
It is 15 all on mine because I have slowed my internet down to
okay.
With your British internet.
Thank you. I never thought from like a rollout of a technology standpoint that the Americans would be ahead of the Brits. That's remarkable.
I feel like I'm allowed to make those jokes because through my dad, I'm a British citizen, and I want everybody to know these are in good fun. They are not meant to actually. I don't want to be a jerk. I just want to poke a little fun, James, because we're here having fun. Hey, speaking of fun, you know what's a lot of fun is the band that they've got going for Italy on the sideline there with the drums, with the matching shirts. I like that, and I like the atmosphere they're bringing here.
No, I agree. It's brilliant, these little bands that some of the countries are bringing. I think Spain had a good little band as well. The Brits always have a good band that they have in the stands, playing on the trumpet, banging the drums. The French are phenomenal when it comes to their instrumentals. I've been to Marseille on a couple of occasions during the finals weekends, and the bands, I was right next to them, and they really do add to the atmosphere so well. It's brilliant, and they know what tunes to pick at the right moment to pick up the crowd or to hold on a momentum spring.
I would love to see an American University marching band at a tennis match, because I don't know how familiar you are with the American University marching bands, but there are a lot of people that take up a whole football field sometimes. I guess that's probably why they would never do it. It would be so much too loud for a tennis match, but also it would take up too much space.
Sinner kind of checked out at that point. That point there went for the drop shot, and it just didn't work out. But he still got game point to try and make it 5-2. I mean, what did you make of Rafa's retirement a few days ago, and the decisions in that match?
It didn't really feel quite. I don't want to say it was inappropriate. It certainly wasn't. I just was expecting a little bit more from Rafa's retirement. I don't know. I can't quite put my finger on it. With Federer's, it was so staged and pre-planned, and there was so much pomp and circumstances, and this was a little more low key. But you know what? I think that's kind of consistent with Rafa. But it was okay. It was a missed opportunity, I think, for tennis. I think Rafa might have been happy about it or comfortable with it, but they just could have done more around it. I mean, this is a true changing of the guards moment. I can't really remember much about tennis before Rafa Nadal. Like all my memory, it's not an era ago, it's eras ago when he burst on the scene, and man, he's gonna be missed. Sinner, after blowing 2 game points here, has a third. Add in. We got some suited guys in the stands in the front row. Probably corporate sponsors. Probably don't really view us as people, just as numbers on a spreadsheet. But I wish I had those seats. And Sinner with an ace to close it out.
The Spanish are the worst when it comes to how they design their stadiums, I have to say, for tennis.
Oh, tell me about that.
the amount of corporate boxes they put at the side of the court. Madrid's the worst. Like the entirety of that bottom row is just corporate boxes, and it just and it just looks absolutely dead on screen when you're watching it. Especially when you've got a good match on, and then all of a sudden the camera angle pans up a little bit, so when they're looking at a player, and you can see in the background the actual normal seats, and they're absolutely rammed, and you're like, well, why is it that you have to have all these sodding corporate boxes right around the centre, which makes it look as though your tournament nobody gives a damn about, because the corporate people don't give a damn about it. French Open's not great with this as well, I have to say. And it's just, why would you design like that? I think the French are the, what was it? What words am I trying to find here? At US Open, do you know what? I give it its due here in terms of its on the Arthur Ashe Stadium, because the corporate boxes with all the bits there are in the middle of the ring. You can't see them on the normal TV, so if nobody's there, it doesn't matter really in terms of how it looks. I think that's perfect, because actually those people in those corporate boxes, all they want is a lovely quiet room that they can go into and then sit in this little balcony to watch a little bit of tennis if they feel like it. Not to actually think that they've got to go right to the front of the court and actually sit in these boxes in which you're going to be seen straight on TV, and they're only going to show up for a couple of matches, and one of them will be probably a big name, and that'll be about it.
I just want to aggressively agree. Just like every single thing you've just said, yes, that is the perfect encapsulation of my views. I agree. I hope I hope and I believe that everybody else watching is going to agree with that too. And this isn't to knock, the people that get corporate sponsorship seats. This is just to say they haven't used them responsibly for the past, I don't know, my whole lifetime.
It's just you don't need them on the side, dead court side. Have that. Okay, maybe you're probably going to charge probably a lot for the seats right on court side, but have them for normal people that are going to want to actually sit there for the first match of the day or the last match of the day if it goes really late in the evening, because they're the people that are going to make your tournament look like if people care about it.
Totally. All right, so Sinner up 5-2, receiving 15 all. After tanking his service return in the net at love 5. Do we think that he's going to get this break and close it out quick?
Whoa, breaking news.
What's happening?
Novak Djokovic appoints Andy Murray as coach for the Australian Open. Novak Djokovic has appointed Andy Murray to coach him into and through the 2025 Australian Open. Djokovic, who was bidding to win a record-extending 11th Australian Open title, has enlisted Murray in the coaching capacity for the tournament in Melbourne that runs from January the 12th to the 26th. We recently retired Murray lost 4 Australian Open finals. He said, "I'm really excited to have one of my greatest rivals on the same side of the net as my coach," Djokovic says. "Looking forward to the start of the season and competing in Australia alongside Andy, with whom I have shared my most exceptional moments on the Australian soil." Murray comments, "I'm going to be joining Novak's team for the off-season, helping him to prepare for the Australian Open. I'm really excited for it and looking forward to spending time on the same side of the net as Novak for a change, helping him to achieve his goals." Jesus, there we go. That's a big news to end the year on.
John told me that we can't swear on this, and which I want to respect. The words in my head are holy something. Holy moly. Wow. That is tectonic tennis news. Is that, I'm trying to think of a precedent. That would be like if Pete Sampras or Agassi had continued playing, which he did when Sampras retired, and he'd hired Pete Sampras as his coach. Yeah. Like, that's crazy. That's awesome. Kudos to Djokovic for wanting a former rival on his team. Kudos to Murray for being up for the challenge. That's great. I cannot wait to see what the two of them can do together in Djokovic's last, couple seasons or two here.
Yeah, okay, so, I think
how much longer is he trying to play? He just hired a new coach. That's at least a year. Is it 2? Is it 3?
That sounds like somebody who wants to, who certainly feels as though they can do something this year. And, they are two, it gets underrated a lot, but those two are really good. Were really good friends on tour. Yeah. And throughout the years that they were on tour, they were really good mates, same generation. And how it's been seen by the fact that obviously given the fact that it always gets credited, Murray's tennis brain is something ridiculously good, and couple that with one of the greatest the greatest tennis player probably that has ever lived. It could be a recipe for success. It could be, of course, the big if will be, the fact that Murray hasn't coached anyone in the past and hasn't really been seen, and that's going to be the big turning point to see if he can actually do something. But Jesus, Andy Murray to be in the coaching box with Novak Djokovic. I mean, geez, this is something else.
I mean, I'm trying to wrap my brain around that, and I can't both watch this match and do that. That is so cool. I wish I had something more eloquent to say. I just think it's great. I can't wait to see what's going to come of that. Imagine if Djokovic rolls back the clock with Coach Andy Murray. By the way, what a point from Minaur right there. Holy moly, absolute magic. I mean, look, if Djokovic wins a couple majors, does that solidify Murray as a top-tier coach for the rest of his life and career? Probably, right? Honestly, doesn't even matter. Djokovic could have a completely pedestrian year, finish at ranked like 7 in the world, and Murray will now be able to coach essentially anybody he wants the rest of his career. And I think that Djokovic, he's a smart guy. He knows the implications of what he's doing. He knows that not only is he doing something that's going to be beneficial for him, that he's really doing something great for Andy Murray. It's going to give him credibility, additional credibility, and he's already got so much for forever. This is a win-win every way that I look at it. I think, I don't see any downside for anybody. Do you?
No, I mean, just to add to that as well, Novak Djokovic tweeted he never liked retirement anyway. Hands emoji. So wow, this certainly could be something. This certainly could be something. I mean, it's just that now really adds a really huge element of excitement to the upcoming season.
Wow, no kidding.
Djokovic really going for it. Is not determined to rest on his morals at the moment. Wants to get that last little bit of an edge to get that last, certainly that, because if you go to the 25 Grand Slams, that means he surpasses Margaret Court as the absolute all right top person.
Oh wow! So in the chat, Matthew asked, "Will we see Novak yelling at Murray?" Look, we might see Murray yelling at Novak. I don't know, because that's the thing, right? Is he's not just a coach; he's a peer, right? And maybe that's why Djokovic has made this hire. Is Andy Murray can look him in the eye and say, "You are spending too much time having fun to play tennis at the level that you want." In a way that I just don't think that many other coaches and players would be willing to say to Novak Djokovic. He can give him the tough love. He can be straight with him in a way that, again, I don't think many other folks can. And also, Andy Murray's made a ton of money in his career. He's not doing this job for cash, right? And he's doing
it for the challenge. He's doing it for the new experience.
So when you take and look, there's always a financial consideration, but because he doesn't need this, he can say stuff to Djokovic that Djokovic might not want to hear.
And maybe he's one of the few people in the tennis world who could say something to Djokovic that he doesn't want to hear.
Absolutely.
And that could be a key reason why Djokovic wants him on the team, because he'll respect anything Murray says, even if what he says is different to what Djokovic thinks.
That's so sick. That's just so cool. All right. Well, while we've been processing this absolutely massive tennis news, shaking the tennis world, Sinner has done the exact thing that everybody watching, and probably everyone except for de Minaur's box expected. He has won the first set. Pretty clinical. Didn't feel at any point in time like it was really in question. I would imagine that the second set will go that way too. James, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm surprised it took him so long actually to get the first set. Especially when he got that early break, it was seemed like it was pretty much done and dusted at that point.
Yep. 10 winners, 9 unforced errors. Look, Sinner's on a different level. Alcaraz on his absolute best day can beat him. Maybe Zverev every now and then. I don't know. Probably not. Djokovic when he rolls back the clock. Other than that, don't expect to see Sinner lose, I don't know, more than once or twice next season, except for those guys. He is just so dominant on hard courts. He's just so good.
he is obviously the, we're linking you back to the Djokovic news. He's got thinner in his eyesight. He's like, he cannot allow this young Italian to continue this dominance that he's doing at the moment. And it's similar for Alcaraz in terms of, something that he's going to have to be looking at. I mean, it was announced last week that Jack Draper's going to be spending an entire week with Alcaraz and Alicante in the warm up for the next season, really showing that both players are determined to find that little edge as much as they possibly can to try and get over the line.
Yeah, and I think that earlier we were talking about players leaving their home country or hometown to train and develop. We talked about this on our last stream. Draper's got to get somewhere hot and humid, and he's got to stay there and get used to it, because he looks like he's about to die every, fourth match or so on the courts. And on that, James, I have got to leave. I just want to say to you, James, as always, it is such a pleasure, man. It's always fun to the chat. Have a great time with James. Ask him lots of questions. And thank you so much for tuning in, and appreciate the questions you had for me and for us. And it's always a pleasure to be on. Thank you, John, for organizing all this and making it happen.
No, it was probably going to be, unless we cover any of the exhibitions in December, the last one of the year, or certainly the last one of this season.
Hey, you can cover my men's recreational tennis matches anytime you want. I don't know that the action's going to be quite as good, but there's a lot of racket throwing.
It certainly is, isn't that?
All right.
Don't ever get those. Right. See you later on, Zach.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Right. Okay. So, like we said, we just currently Sinner just on the return at the moment. 15 love to Alex de Minaur, just trying to get the words right there, the names right. Alex is doing his best to hold serve, wild backhand from Sinner, so it hasn't worked out for him. Right, so 30 love at the moment. Backhand there, good backhand from Sinner, just neutralizes the point, and just a lax forehand from de Minaur there. So looking good at the moment. Looking okay at the moment for the Australian. So 30-15 at the moment. Again, do put any questions. Like we said, we just broke that news about Andy Murray now going to be coaching Jannik. So going to be coaching Novak Djokovic next year, which is going to be mad, absolutely mad. Any questions that you've got, do put them in the chat about this match. Anything at all? Be good to interact with you more. Any thoughts, feelings, opinions? That would be excellent. Okay, so Alex at the moment 30 all at this stage, goes cross court, forehand by de Minaur, just doesn't work out there. Just goes wide of the line there. Up the line from Sinner, just goes long. So Alex has been able to at least hold on, at least be held for the start of this set. Needs to make sure he has a good start to the competition, good start to the set. Doesn't really want to be giving away anything at the moment. Okay, just seeing serve placement, shot placement of the first serve for Sinner, really going into the corners incredibly well, it looks like. Just goes along there. It's down the tee from Sinner, no luck, just goes into the net. So Matthew, you're saying in the chat, so I don't see Murray added to the team to add tactical help or connecting technical flaws. No, like it's 37. I want someone that's good company and an opinion that he can balance off thoughts. I mean, that's what we're saying. Certainly, the opinion side of things could be the key element to this, where Murray will be one of the few people that will be able to actually say something to. We'll be able to say something to Novak, and for Novak to actually pay attention to it, even if he disagrees with it, which is going to be a key part of it there. Jane, good to see you in the chat, Jane. So I wonder if they should have put Demon against Berrettini and sacrificed Kokkinakis to Sinner. You've got to figure whoever's going to put against Sinner these days is kind of a sacrificial lamb. I will say the one issue that you got with that, Jane, is that because of the way the Davis Cup works, you have to play your top player against your opponent's top player or highest tap rank players. So De Minaur would have only been able to have played against Sinner, so he would have been a sacrificial lamb anyway. I kind of feel as though, I don't know if Alexei Popyrin is part of the team, but that may have been a better pick against Berrettini than Kokkinakis. And that certainly may be a place where Australia could have looked back on, because there was such a premium on them needing to win that first match, and that didn't happen, and that's the issue here. And at the moment, Sinner doing okay at the moment, looks as though he's about to draw it 1-1, probably is on course to going and winning this set. And you've got to favour the fact that when it comes to the matches against Italy, it's whoever is able to, you want to be able to win that first match against whoever player that is, because the Sinner match is going to be the hard one to try and get any sort of victory from. Yeah, Bias is because of the points he picked up on the clay courts thing. He is ranked higher than Cerundolo and what's the other name? Thomas Martin Etcheverry, and it actually worked out really well for Argentina in the quarterfinals, because they actually played a bit of a blinder by. That's all right, Jane, don't worry. They played a bit of a blinder because they knew that there was such a premium on them needing to win that first match, because against they could have so quite easily gone, we'll put Cerundolo against Sinner and Etcheverry against at the time, I think it was Musetti. They could have done that, but then if Musetti had beaten Etcheverry, then it was going to be game over. Matthew saying that Novak will finally have the crowd behind him. He certainly will, won't he? In the tournament, if we got Murray there, especially at Wimbledon crowd after the announcement. Yeah, I mean, there'll be a lot more British tennis fans that will be a lot will think a lot more positively towards Andy Murray. I mean, Andy Murray had the ability to be liked around the world. I mean, everybody in every continent loved Murray. His commitment, his style of game, everything. Was just, it shone and it connected with so many millions of tennis fans across the world that there'll be a lot of people now that are big Murray fans that are going to now back not Djokovic more than they would usually would, given the story that we've had here. It's on. Oh, nearly. As currently, it is 15-all at the moment. 15-all. Out there from Sinner. So 30-15. I mean, the Australians' kick is sticking in there at the moment really well. Backhand from Sinner, backhand by De Minaur, forehand cross court by Sinner, forehand by De Minaur. Up the line there by De Minaur, backhand by Sinner, backhand by De Minaur, forehand by Sinner down line, forehand by out though, so we're at a juice point. So 30 all at the moment. It's James, I mean, watching enough tennis in terms of playing tennis. Well, I'm excited. I'm an excellent ball kid. That's good, dear James. I would have liked to have been a ball boy, and maybe Wimbledon or Queens or whatnot. But unfortunately, I live too far away for that to happen. But yeah, I mean, we're right at the tail end of the season. We've got. Okay, so Minaur is able to win that point there to make it 40-15. So going okay at the moment for Alex. Going okay at the moment for Alex. What I will do now is I will move these across. So I've just been trying to use different screens as it currently stands, and I'm going to see if I can move myself across on the TV. Move that to Amazon. And whatnot there, because I would say we're at the back end of the season at the moment. This literally is. We've got the tournaments next week. We've got the tournaments. No tournaments next week. Next to tomorrow. If I could speak, it'd be absolutely brilliant. Well, thank you everyone for sticking with me as I completely forget what planet I think I'm on at the moment. Is that going to work? Is that going to get me onto Amazon? No, that's not going to get me onto Amazon. Nor that either. Don't worry, I'm not trying to buy much Christmas shopping. I'm trying to log on to the website. Yeah, it's now breaking on all the major news platforms. The fact that we now got Andy Murray and Novak Djokovic is going to be Andy Murray's going to be coaching Novak Djokovic. Just feels, he knows Novak and generally Murray as well. He knows how to take the attention to himself. But in a minute, we're in the Davis Cup. You'd think that would be the thing anyone would be caring about, and he comes on like this. And he just comes on. Password recovery 6 7 4 3 4 3. We will get back to the match, ladies and gentlemen. Don't worry. Once I can actually get a laptop that will find the actual. There. Okay. Now we go there. Now we go to oh, why are you so irritating as a system? Loads of like pop-up ads and whatnot. Right, on to Prime. Take me to Prime. No, don't. Live TV. Davis Cup. Play. There we go. We're now back and we're cooking. So I've now got Stin on the bigger screen, which is much easier for me to be able to see as he goes to love up. And we got Dan in the chat. Nice to see you, Dan. Welcome to the. I don't think I've seen your chat. Hi, James. I think Murray will get a lifetime achievement award, Sports Personality of the Year next month. What do you think? I mean, it's still quite early in his career to start to get a lifetime achievement, but I would, in terms of, yeah, I think that would be. I think there's grounds to suggest that certainly because of what he's done over the last 10 to 15 years in the sport. Coupled also, I would say, equal to what to Lewis Hamilton as well from the Formula One world. Those are two that will need that they are both being knighted, big achievements, big lifetime achievements, all that in terms of their services to their sport from a British perspective. Absolutely, and Murray leading the charge on that is an absolute must. So I agree. I certainly agree on that one. I hope he gets something as a similar accolade. As it's currently 2-2 at the moment. Did Deco win? I did 6 love. Jesus. Okay, 15-all. Maybe Sinner's a little bit more locked in at this time around. At least is going to be a little bit more tentative to this. So like I said, just do comment below any quips and whatnot. We will have full concentration to see if Dan saying the F1 season needs extending so far. Las Vegas F1 race tomorrow will be super exciting. It's needed exciting. I mean, there was the attempt potentially at the at Lando Norris being a challenger to Max, but unless Lando can have a huge result this weekend and Max to have a really terrible one, he probably is going to get the title wrapped up either this weekend or next. Okay, de Minaur tries to go cross court, just hits the net. So second serve for Demon. Goes cross court, backhand by Sinner, forehand by de Minaur, backhand by Sinner, slice by de Minaur, the line, backhand there, backhand cross court by Sinner, good depth to the shot. But good depth back by Demon. They're really going at it with the backhands. Both players switch to the forehand from Sinner. Forehand by de Minaur, forehand by Sinner. Forehand down the line by de Minaur. Backhand at the line by Sinner, but it hits the net. So that is 40-30. 40-30 there. It is Demon is really looking locked in at the moment. Really looking locked in. Okay, goes cross court, forehand by Sinner, forehand by de Minaur, into the middle of the tram lines though, so that makes it 40-30, so still not over yet. I'll tell you something, Alex de Minaur really is giving Sinner a real run for his money as we hit the hour mark, The big question is, will we see the second hour? Will we get into a third hour in this match, or will it get wrapped up in an hour and something? That ball's just nestled into the net. Goes cross court, backhand by Sinner, backhand by de Minaur, backhand up line by Sinner. Oh, just about gets to it. Does it land out? Does land out, and we are into a juice. We're into a juice game at the moment. Got some pictures of some fans in the crowd with the Italian flag plastered all over. Okay, so juice game here. Alex goes down the tee. Perfect. Really, the most pinpoint of aces. Absolutely needed, you would say, given that the last 2 points had gone to the Italians. Just to keep his nose in front on this service game. He doesn't want to be giving up a break at this stage of the match yet. Or at all, really. Goes down the tee. Forehand by Sinner, just hits the net. And they go to the chairs. With Jannik Sinner, with Alex de Minaur leading 3-2. At the moment, I mean, barring the fact that service game went to juice, you would argue to say that it's been fairly comfortable on serve at the moment between the players. It's just not too, which I'm sure from Alex's perspective, he'd be happy to have that consistency in this, of holding, really. As I say, he went an early breakdown at the beginning of the first. He was able to get it back, but then got broken midway through the second. There are key things to be done to make sure that he doesn't. He certainly cannot afford to be giving up break points if he has any intention of winning this set. You'd argue to say that certainly if he wants to win the match, he cannot get broken at all between now and the end of it. That's certainly the case. Like we say, you got any questions or so? I will repeat. And if you can as well, if you could like the video, that'd be fantastic. That would be absolutely fantastic if you could do that. Whatever platform you're on, Twitch, YouTube, even if you're watching on X, give it a like, would be absolutely brilliant. Sinner tries to go down a T, just bounces over on the left chord. So 50. So we've got first serve again. Okay, Sinner, ball into the air, goes down the T, just perfectly placed. Jannik Sinner knows what he's doing. We've got Alex just looking a bit confuddled or confundeled at the fact of how that point went. Very much would be the case actually with these players that they've met a lot. They've only really met this year on indoor hard courts. Of course, they started at the beginning of the year in Rotterdam in the final there. Sinner coming through in straight sets in that match, and then of course they met in the group stages of the tour finals. Again, Sinner winning in straight sets there as well, and very much looking as though he could do the triple threat almost of the straight sets victories if he's able to get this set here. He just looks so imperious, Sinner. I mean, it's like watching a ice. Certainly the connotations from his skiing background ever present in his footwork and the way he's gliding around the court at the moment. When he's in full flight, he is on it. Backhand by Minaur, forehand by Sinner, forehand by Alex, downline by Sinner, backhand by tricky backhand. Really just going out. I mean, the ball speeds. I mean, you can see how quick the court is with just these ball speeds from both players. It's like video game tennis. Really, I feel like I should have a controller in my hand going, X Y, RB, RB, on all these shots. It's just ridiculously good. So 40 love to Sinner. He's looking to make this comfortable service hold. And remember, if Jannik Sinner wins this match, he will seal the tie for Italy quite early in the day, actually, for Davis Cup times. They usually go on a daft site later than this. But he would seal the tie for Italy and would book their space in the final for a chance to retain their Davis Cup title that they won last year. And against a Netherlands side, he would kind of, well, I mean, it depends. A lot of it would depend on, that nearly went over. That was nearly a good shot. A lot of it, you would say, would depend on, it would certainly depend on that first match. If Italy wins that first match, you're pretty much then saying that they're gonna win the title. If Italy are able to, and I know I'm speaking in hypotheticals, but if they are able to, if the Netherlands team with Botic are able to win that first match, then it makes things interesting, because then that doubles match will feel very 50-50, and because you would still expect Sinner to win his singles match, but then how that doubles match goes with Wesley Koolhof and whatnot, it could be a bit more of a trickier situation. as we get a fantastic lob there from Alex de Minaur. Catches Sinner unable to read it properly on the backhand attempt. It just lands perfectly. So what was meant to be a pretty straightforward service game has actually turned a little bit more complicated. Okay, Sinner, ball in the air, goes down the tee, backhand by Sinner. But backhand wild by Sinner, and now we're at deuce. It's the Aussie about to make a bit of a comeback. Leighton is giving it all at this side of the court at the moment. Well, from 40 love to deuce. I mean, what was meant to be quite a straightforward service game has turned into anything but the sort. Okay, so Sinner goes down the tee, backhand by de Minaur, cross court by Sinner, perfectly put away. So advantage to the Italian. Backhand by Sinner. Backhand by Alex, sorry, that goes out. And we are 3-all. We are 3-all at the moment. Is there a bigger overachiever? I think that's a little bit harsh on Alex de Minaur, if they call him an overachiever. He's certainly him and Cam Norrie kind of. You look at their careers in terms of you look at their games, and although it's a fantastic game for a tennis player to have, really consistent, really being able to use a lot of shots. There isn't those standout killer weapons which are able to just get a few more free points, just to be able to maintain control of the bigger matches against the bigger players. And okay, you're coming up against a top player and they're not playing the best. Somebody with an Alex de Minaur game style could really cause them a lot of problems, a serious amount of problems. It's a fantastic forehand there from Sinner. But that just shows in terms of Sinner has those weapons. He has that killer serve. He has that killer forehand, the killer backhand. You can't really say the same for Alex. And although he's been working on being more aggressive and developing at least some degree of some weapons in his game, he needs it to happen a lot more, or he would need to really find some absolutely bizarre killer weapons to be able to really see off the rest of the to really get to that next level. But I wouldn't necessarily call him an overachiever. I would call him a maximizer. Absolutely. He really has maximized all the elements of his game. And that's all we can really ask for with a lot of tennis players, is that they maximize what they have to really be able to get to the bigger top of the game as much as they can, really. Brilliant serve there from Alex. Makes it 40-15. So this is looking like it's just going to become quite a straightforward service game. Backhand by Sinner, forehand by Alex de Minaur, backhand by Sinner, forehand by Alex. Comes to that from Sinner, just like gets to it. Just scrambles through it, just lands on. Sinner just whacks it out on as he attempts to try and get to a cross-court ball by Alex. He probably could have left it, actually. Sinner probably was actually looking potentially to go out, but that then makes it 4-3. So we're getting to an interesting stage of the match at the moment. Certainly getting to an interesting stage of the match. So just 4-3. So but still both holding their own. This could potentially go to a tiebreaker the way things are going. Okay, so Sinner here, just serving still to stay in this match. Still serving to stay to stay on par at the moment with Alex. Guzzling water a lot today. Goes cross court. Jane St. Demon has to play Sinner in the next gen finals final. Had to play. Yeah, he did, didn't he? And that was a tournament that Sinner, as a wild card, was able to win, and nobody really expected him to win that next gen finals. And it's kind of shown with the fact that the next gen finals has produced players or had winners like Tsitsipas, Sinner, and Alcaraz. That it's a tournament that you should seriously pay attention to the people that end up winning it or participating in it. Granted, over the last couple of years, Brandon Nakashima, although he's had a much better season this year, hasn't had the huge breakthrough that you'd expect. And Haddad Mijanovic has had a really big injury-laden season, unfortunately. But it's a combo of a similar age bracket ish, kind of. Well, Sinner was 18 when he did it, and Alex Minaur was 21, so it was more at the further end of the bracket. But at least appeared in that tournament. Sinner goes cross court, forehand by Alex, but it doesn't land over the net. So that is 30-15 to the Italian. I want to say Stallion, but he isn't the Stallion. Okay, so Sinner goes down the tee, back forehand by Alex, cross court by Sinner, backhand by Alex, who's basically near enough falls over just with the low bounce and the direction of that ball from Sinner. So 40-15. Someone saying that Wimbledon, maybe Matthew, if the partnership is maintained post AO. Jane saying, I remember his coach was saying something like, you need to take the initiative and be aggressive. And Demon was like, are you watching what I am doing? That tends to be the case. It's very hard to be aggressive against somebody who you just cannot get your claws into their games too much. And his coach was like, "Vamos, don't give up." Yeah, just hang on in there, lad. You never know what could happen. Backhand by Alex, forehand by Sinner, backhand slice by Alex, backhand at the line by Sinner. Sorry, and that's perfectly put away to make it 4-all. 4-all at the moment. 4-all at the moment. So we could be 2 games away potentially from taking this to a third set, or we could be 2 games away from the set finishing. We just got a shot at the bench there, and we can see that Matteo Berrettini is back. It's back in the bench. Cross court there with the forehand from Alex. Backhand at the line by Sinner, backhand by Alex, backhand by Sinner, but into the net there, just duds it into the net a bit. I think Sinner will be a little bit. There is Alexi Pop. I will say I understand that Leighton's got this. He backs his man Kokkinakis, but Alexi Poprin's a better player. I'm sorry, but Alexi Poprin's a better player, and I think he could have potentially got the win against Berrettini. I kind of feel like blind loyalty played a factor in that decision. Yes, Kokkinakis was able to beat Ben Shelton, but Ben Shelton basically thought it was a piss around, to be brutally honest. when it comes to the Davis Cup. Whereas I think Alexei Popyrin against a Berrettini who actually cares about this competition could have done something, and this match, would not have had the ridiculous amount of pressure that it now has on for Alex. As a captain, and we've seen it multiple times this week and last week, you've got to be cutthroat with your choices and your decision making. Okay, so Alex is currently 30-15 up at the moment on serve. Goes down the tee, backhand by Sinner, forehand by de Minaur, up the line by Sinner, backhand by de Minaur, other line by Sinner, forehand by de Minaur, other forehand by Sinner, backhand by de Minaur, backhand by Sinner. He's just moving it all over the shot, and it was a bad backhand by Alex, and it's 30 all here. Is the pressure coming on? Could this be the point? Could this be it? Berrettini shouting like crazy to Jannik. He did a phenomenal job getting the victory for Italy to make this match the potential tie-sealing match. Goes cross-court, forehand by Sinner, just goes over. Forehand by Minaur goes for the lob by Sinner. It was bad backhand there, backhand by Sinner. Oh, but forehand into the net by de Minaur. So Sinner went for a lob. Alex just about got to it, but it was very weak on the connection. Sinner then was able to put a backhand up the line, followed by a forehand by Alex into the net. And now the Italian has break point. And you would feel as though it could be match point in terms of how the match could go from here. Absolute scenes at the moment on the Italian camp, on the Italian stands. Okay, Alex, ball in the air, goes cross court. Backhand by Sinner. Alex comes to the net. Forehand down the tee. Saves the break point. It was a brilliant serve out wide there by Alex de Minaur. Sinner did so well just to be able to even get anything onto it, but but at that point it was just hoping for a mistake from Alex to give him the break. So we are to juice. Maybe it's a case about for the Italian to just watch out for that, or just watch out for the swinger out wide on those big points, as it seems to be a place that Alex is going a lot. Okay, ball in the air, goes cross court, goes long from Alex. So a second serve here potentially for Sinner to attack. Backhand by Sinner, backhand by de Minaur, and it's out from de Minaur. This pressure is telling. We have got ourselves a second break point. It is tight. It is tight. Okay, Alex is breathing a bit there. Needs a first serve here, you feel. Okay, goes down the tee. Oh, just with the big points when he needs them the most, he's finding it. He went down the tee, basically painted the line as he did it. Back to juice. Second big point, second big serve comes to his rescue. Goes cross court, just goes long. Second serve here. Backhand by Jannik, forehand by Sinner, backhand by de Minaur, backhand by Sinner, back forehand by Alex into the net. It was a beautiful backhand by Sinner right onto the line. Really pushed Alex as far back as he could, and off balance in the process. It's all occurring. Okay, advantage to the Italian. Okay, is it going to be another great first serve? It's not this time. It's into the net. Second serve. Something for Sinner to look at. Backhand by Sinner. Forehand by Alex. Backhand by Sinner. Backhand by Alex down the line. Forehand cross court by Sinner. Down the line by Alex. Cross court by Sinner. Just about gets to it. Up the line. Gets to it. And he does. It was brilliant from Sinner. He just about scrambled. The defensive work was on par. It was a situation where Alex came with a forehand inside down the line. Came to the net. Cross court by Sinner. Just about sliced over it from Minaur. But it was caught out of place. And Sinner was able to get to the ball and backhand it for the winner and to make it 5-4. He goes to the chair now with the potential to come out and serve for the tie and to take the Italian team back to the finals. You probably think he's going to do it. It's what we predicted at the start of the show. You would say it was going to be. You say it was going to be Jannik's for the taking in a straight set, and you would favour the Italians in that semi-final in that final match with the Dutch, but it will still be a good contest nonetheless tomorrow. Wow, Crazy saying, "Well, there we go, James. The result was never in." Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's been anything in this match that has made us doubt the fact that Sinner was gonna win this. He still could lose it, but at the moment, you would think it'd be a doubt at the moment if he was going to lose it from this position. But not too bad at all. Okay, Sinner on the ball. Goes, they hit the wall with a big net. So second serve it. Down the tee, backhand by Alex, forehand by Sinner, forehand by Alex. Slice by Sinner into the net. Okay, first point goes to the Australian. Not the start the Italian would have wanted. Good to see Alex still locked in. Down the cross court, forehand by Alex Di Minaur. No luck though. It's a good serve out wide there from the Italian. It seems to be that both players have really gone out wide on those key points to try and give themselves a freer point as possible. So 15-all. Sinner goes cross court, forehand by Di Minaur, but it was out on that cross quarter, so we to a second serve. Goes down the tee, backhand by Di Minaur, forehand by Sinner, backhand by Di Minaur, forehand by Sinner into the net. Ooh. You say Alex is not going anywhere at the moment. Sinner needs to stay locked in here if he wants to get the victory. A few more first serves on the juice side would help him. Oh, something's happening in the stands. Okay, Sinner goes out wide again, gets himself to front of the court. Oh, and just basically goes cross court again. Sinner read it perfectly well, but almost too well because it basically went straight to his racket and he was unable to really get anything on it. Okay, so 30 all at the moment. Okay, so Sinner. Ball in the air, goes down the tee. Goes there, able to then approach the net on a brilliant point there. So that now makes it match point. Match point to the Italian to give him one last match this season. One last match this season. He is a point away from guaranteeing himself that. Here we go then. To match point to set up a final with the Netherlands. Just some disturbance in the crowd there. Okay, ball in the air. Goes cross court. Backhand by all, but it is out. So second serve. Goes out wide. Backhand by Alex de Minaur. And out it goes. The racket gets smashed from Alex. It was a terrible return, to be honest, on the second serve, and something that he'll feel annoyed about. But there we go. Jannik Sinner has beaten Alex de Minaur, the world number 9, the Australian number 1, 6-3, 6-4 in basically just under an hour and a half. Not a bad performance there from Jannik Sinner, as expected. He's coming here and he's expected to get the victories, and that's what he's done. The great duo of Berrettini and Sinner getting it done in the singles. No need for a doubles rubber, and you would certainly favour the Italians at this stage to get the job done almost. It's looking as though what was predicted at the start of the week, which was the Italians to retain their title, is very much coming true at the moment. It's like we say, you have the Italians as favourite. Brazy's saying in the chat, I'm kind of rooting for Kulov and the Netherlands in the final, James. I hope it gets to the doubles. I think it would be good for the competition if they can get the match to the doubles. I'm just trying to get up here what time the finals will be tomorrow. Why am I losing so many followers on there? That's just a good question. Bookmark page there. Okay, so the final tomorrow, just to get them to mark their cards, will be at, it says local time 4 o'clock, so UK time that will be 3 o'clock. I will mark that in my head. That will be when the final will take place, and it will be the last. Well, it will feel as though it's the last match of the. It will feel as though it's the last match of the season for the last match of the season for the tour. Granted, although we've got the next gen finals technically counts as part of the 2024 season because of its place in the calendar and its timings in the calendar, with it being this, I think it's like the 16th to the 22nd of December. It kind of feels as though it's connected more to the next start of the next season. But no, it's again, it's another very impressive victory from Sinner. Okay, there were some little glimpses of problems in that match, but this is the last match of the season. Sinner's probably knackered. There's going to be little dips and wobbles, and it just shows the caliber of the player and of the man to be able to get through those matches as easily, get through this match in straight sets as he has done. He's going to probably be playing tomorrow. Talon Grigspor. He's got a good record against Grigspor. He'll be pretty happy playing the Netherlands player. And as we could probably guess, it's going to all come down to, if they go to the Sinner match, if they go to that second singles match with Italy being 1-0 in the lead, you favour the fact that the Italians are going to win it. If the Netherlands team are going to do anything in that match tomorrow, they need to win that second ranked singles match, that first singles match of the day. They can get that victory there. We know it will most likely go to the doubles, and then anything could happen because you've got Wesley Koolhof, who is one of the best doubles players in the world, and Botic van der Zandschulp, which has been part of their doubles team this week, who has played really well in those situations, or when it comes to those doubles matches. He's a fairly good doubles player, Botic. So it is imperative, it feels like, for the Netherlands, if they are going to get this victory, that they're going to have to win that first singles match that's going to take place at 3 o'clock UK time, 4 o'clock local time. They need to win that match because the Sinner match will most likely be won by Jannik Sinner, get themselves to the doubles and see what is going to happen there. But it's certainly turned into a good, we've had the big, this is, of course, the final week, as we said, the main season. We've had some really exciting matches. Of course, the retirement of Rafa Nadal. This will probably be for me because I'm not commentating tomorrow. This will be sort of the last match of the proper season that I'll be covering. Probably will end up covering some of the like exhibition-y type stuff that will pop up in December as well. And certainly for the next gen finals, we'll do hopefully some coverage of that before Christmas. And then the new season, of course, kicks up on the 22nd of December. It is all coming to a close. One more tie left in Malaga between the Netherlands and Italy. It's been fantastic to have all you lot joining in and listening into the stream. And we will see you on the other side. So.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.